Most people that I tend to see using the Sony cameras favour this 16mm wide angle prime lens, and it's doing a great job. And look how close that is to me, it's incredible. But personally, I prefer using a 30mm lens like I'm going to show you in just a minute. I don't particularly want to see all this space behind me. And one of the things people say about my videos is they really connect with me and feel like it's just me talking to you right now. And I think part of that comes down to this wider crop that I tend to use. Plus, my background is photography. I've been a professional photographer for 17 years or more, and I would never take a portrait of somebody with a wide angle lens. I just know it's not going to be flattering. The face is going to get distorted more on a wide angle shot like this than it will if you shot on a telephoto zoom lens. That's why typically portrait lenses would be 100mm equivalent. So although there is a lot less distortion in this image here, I still can't quite settle with this being the go-to lens. So let's have a look at this through the 30mm lens. Now, 30mm in this position is not good. So we've got to move the camera back now. Now, I personally much prefer this 30mm, but obviously my monitor at the minute is in the way, so I just need to slide this down a little bit. And this would be more typically how I would sit and how I would work. And look at the difference, that lens is much further back this time. I personally really prefer this. And actually, if I want to, when I'm working at this, I could kind of push that out the way and I'm working away without feeling like there's a camera looking at me over the back there. Interesting, isn't it, that we've kind of put my head in the same position in here, but you're seeing a lot less of that background behind me and it isn't as distracting. It's just something back there, but a bit of nothing really. So what do you think? That you're liking the 16mm look with that wider view behind, or do you like this? Can you notice a difference in my face? Now, obviously we need to take into account this distance, and for some of my customers, they're not able to get a light stand or a tripod that far back, and so being able to attach to the front of the desk is a major plus. Others would actually like to have that camera further back. Like I say, you've got the space there, why not put it further back and just get it off the desk here. If you're anything like me, I like to keep this desk as clean and uncluttered as possible, and so yeah, shoving it back there, it's not a bad thing. But as I say, for me really, it's just this feeling of shooting through at this angle rather than the wide angle. If you can imagine it, you know, with this sort of zoom, it's coming more straight. When it's on a wide angle, it's going like this, so it's just catching so much more of that space behind me. And again, for some of you, that might be an issue. Maybe you're in a smaller room and you don't like that you're picking up the walls at the side. You've only cleared off a fairly small area that's blank behind you. This lens will really help you to keep this small space. Now, some of you might be asking, why are we even using these prime lenses? Why wouldn't we just use the lens that comes with this camera? It covers through the range of 16 and 30, so why buy two different lenses when one lens can do it all? And probably it's the lens that you've already got. Well, the real reason that we're using prime lenses is to get a wider aperture, to let more light come into the camera. This is kind of the wrong way around really, because we talk about a wide aperture, but the number gets lower. So you might find on your lens, it's an f3.5. This lens here will go down to 1.8, and that is just getting wider and wider. And so the benefits of that are, firstly, that I don't have to have additional lighting on so strong. Just this ambient light in the room is often good enough. And so I can use a light like this in front of me, set right down to about 10 or 12% just to put some key light on my face here. But it is so much nicer than if I were needing to have this up at like 60%. If I'm recording away, if I'm on a live, that can give you a headache having a bright light in front of you. Or two little LEDs, whatever it is that you're using. So letting more light in means that these additional lights can be turned lower, and that is a big plus. But the main reason we're using prime lenses is to blur that background. And we're going to see in a second. I'm going to switch this over, put the kit lens back on, and you can see just the impact it can have. So let's try it first of all at this 30mm. So with this kit lens at 30mm zoom, f5 is as good as I can get, and as you can see, what a huge difference. So going from an f1.8 wide aperture, we've now made this hole smaller that the light's coming through, f5, and this is what we get. So now we need to increase the ISO to get back to the same thing. So I've just had to turn the ISO up to 1250. And that's quite a big increase, and the quality will start to go when you're increasing the ISO like this. It's basically like a brightness control inside the camera, but as you're doing it, it's just losing detail. We'd always keep that ISO as low as possible. So yes, we can kind of match it, but I don't know about you, but I don't think this looks as good. And notice that that is more in focus behind me. So while we've got the kit lens on, why don't we do a quick test with this at the 16mm end as well and see how that compares. So here it is. This is the final place of this one. Now this does come down to an f4 because this is a variable aperture. So when I'm zooming in and it's out there at 30, the lowest it can get is 5.6, but now I'm widening this out to 16, or actually this is 18. I'm actually at f4, so I can take that ISO down to 1000. I don't want to get all technical on you, but someone's going to ask it, and I need to be true that we have actually changed this around slightly. So with this kit lens on here, and not as bad, but it's still not getting as blurry as it was before when we had the 16mm on here. So ISO 1000, f4 and a 50th that we always shoot at, because we're in the UK. If you're in the States, you would be on a 60th. So what do you think, guys? Do you stick with the kit lens? Is there enough of a difference in this? Personally, I absolutely think it is worth getting a prime lens for this. Then really back to the start, do you go for that 16 or do you go for the 30? Popping them up on the screen here again. Really that's up to you. What look do you like? What is more convenient? Do you want that extra width? Do you want it in tighter? Do you want it clamped to the desk? Have you got some space there? I'd love to hear what you think, what you come up with. There are other lenses. These are probably just two of the most common ones, and certainly the ones that we've chosen to use here. So I've just put the 16mm 1.4 back on. Whoa, can you see the difference, the amount of light that this lets in that we can't do on that kit lens? So let's just dial this back down. There we go, so much better. Back down to 125 ISO, and you can see how much of a difference that's making back there. Now, before I leave you, I want to tell you about a new video that we've been working on, comparing this small little Sony ZV-1 to this 6400. Now, this one has a built-in zoom on it, so we can't be putting these prime lenses on, but this will actually go down to 1.8 or 2.8, depending on which end of the zoom we're on. So I reckon it's going to be really fun to put this alongside and compare it. If you want to check that video out, you can see it up here. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in another video.